Brandon, how you doing?
Good, good, good. How are you guys doing?
Good to see you. Good to see you. Clarissa, how you doing? Nancy, how you doing? Awesome. Awesome. I gotta mute this. There's regionally new sound. All right. Without further ado, Seth, can you share? Clarissa says hi, everyone.
Hi, Clarissa.
Nancy, how you doing? I don't know who iPhone 12 is, but how you doing, iPhone 12?
John Francis, what's up?
How you doing? How you doing? James, how you doing? Okay. And then we have Mr. Keelan coming right on. Keelan's our special guest. We'll give him an introduction shortly.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you
All right, great,
loud and
great.
clear. Awesome. So today we will be getting your credit built right and using credit for your investments. All right. I gave you guys a brief introduction of how I was able to, be helped, but we'll let Keelan talk further down the line, see how maybe he can help you guys, maybe bring some value. Tons of tips and tricks I've learned, and hopefully he can bring you guys some value tonight. Seth, let's dig into it.
All right. What we got? This needs to go away. It's in my way. Sorry. Technical difficulties.
I always forget to post on social media, guys. Let me just get that out the way. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful faces. Let me see some smiles. There we go.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Welcome, everybody. We got some new faces in the room, so I'm excited. We got a good topic today, Mr. Keelan talking. So Ray and I won't take up too much of his time. My name is Seth. I help me and Ray put this on every week for you guys every Tuesday at 6:30. I've been investing in real estate since early 2019. Host a meetup here in Morgantown, West Virginia, and invest mainly in small multifamilies and do a lot of wholesaling as well.
Awesome. Ray Glimp, guys, over 100 doors, 10 million in real estate deals, 40 under 40, a reward recipient, NAACP, champion of change. But tonight, my greatest gift and my greatest award is being able to be here with you guys every week, Tuesday at 6:30. We prepare this. We take time away from our families. We appreciate you guys taking time to spend with us and hopefully bring you guys some value. Tonight should be another one full, tons of jewels. And we're also on YouTube. So if you guys can subscribe, follow us on YouTube as well.
Absolutely.
And also feel free to share this too. I mean, you guys can share this out with your friends. This Tuesday platform is totally free.
Yeah, and if you guys found us through Instagram or some other channel other than Facebook, and you still use Facebook, we've got the Entrepreneur Roundtable Facebook group. It's a public group that you can join, and you'll see upcoming events and stuff like that. Like I said, we do this every week, but the topics are kind of listed out there in the future.
Yeah. Before we get into the disclaimer too, if you guys can just we like to build a community. So if you don't mind, drop your Instagram, your Facebook, put your name in the chat. That way you guys can stay connected. Everybody, we always like to build this community, so you never know. Seth, want a disclaimer?
Yep. So we put a little speaker up here. We're happy to share this out with anybody who would like it, but the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host and the guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any organization. The content provided is for informational purposes only and should not be taken as professional, legal, medical, or financial advice. Listeners are encouraged to conduct their own research and consult with appropriate professionals before making any decisions based on the information provided in this podcast, and any reliance you place on such information, you should do strictly at your own risk.
Cool.
So we got the legal stuff out the way.
Without further ado, breaking news, my favorite segment. Second favorite, I guess. I like to hear from y'all too. This was published Wednesday, February 21st. So literally right after we got off our call. This kind of stays in line with what we were talking about last week too. With mortgage rates remaining high, renting is less expensive than buying. Housing prices will continue to go up. I don't know how many times we could say housing will continue to go up. Before we got on this call, we were talking with Ryan, and I was sharing, some of the things that are happening right now. It just hit me earlier today, a couple hours ago. There is more immigration happening right now than people are being born in the U.S. There's about 30 immigrants coming in every week. 30,000 immigrants coming every week. And that's more than the amount of people being born in the U.S. It's crazy. First time ever in history. And I'm not political, but all that means is that they will put more pressure for affordable housing and housing in general. We already have a housing crisis of, we're short about, I think, 1 to 2 million houses. And all that's going to do is put more pressure. So when we talk about investing, now is the best time, right? You got to be ahead of the curve. And down there, while both housing and rent prices have outpaced wage growth in many areas, renting, they say, can be a smarter financial choice in some markets. In some markets, you might not have a choice to rent. Eddie, I know, Eddie, your market's not cheap, Not everybody can come up with 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 to invest, right? But if you can, it's always, I personally stick to this, it's always better to own than it is to rent, okay? Seth, anything you want to drop on that?
I completely agree, and it's funny too. You're talking about the increases and stuff like that because a stat I think we shared it last week too, that year over year the increase from 2022 to 2023, the population increase just of babies born was bigger that year than it was in any time throughout the baby boom. So we're making a bunch of babies too. So you think about it, 15, 20, 30 years from now, we're in a crisis for housing now. What are we going to be like, in 2050?
Yeah.
Now is the time.
Great. So my favorite part of this is the gold digger segment. We want to talk about your wins. I want to hear from you guys. They could be small wins, big wins. I want to hear what you guys got accomplished or what you're looking to accomplish in the next week. Small goals, anything from the gym to, real estate deals. I want to hear about it. Anybody want to open up?
I got a small goal.
Go ahead, Brandon.
I had a tenant that was giving me trouble, man. Like next week is last week. Got the sheriff coming up and all of that, handling that. So finally, man, it's been a long process.
I understand. Congratulations, though.
That's a big hurdle.
Yeah, it's good to get that out the way. That mean you're gonna make some money soon too.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Wednesday.
Yeah, I can jump in.
Go ahead, Brian.
So I just finished. So a tenant moved out, and I just finished transitioning the unit, get a new floors and paint, and so I'll be able to rent that actually higher because they were paying under market for a 4-bedroom. They were paying $1,600. I'll be able to get that up to 25, 26, and at most 2,800. Oh yeah, so looking forward to that.
Big win. Congratulations. Anybody else want to share some wins?
I started mentorship modules, and I think I'm on like module 4 or 5 now.
About damn time.
Huh?
About damn time. There you go.
Right. Tell me all about it. But I also retained my estate attorney today, so that's
good.
All good news.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
I saw Feng. Feng, you raise your hand?
Yes. I signed an offer for my flipping house in Iowa, 270,000.
Oh, congratulations.
We'll close 3 days later, 3 weeks later.
Congratulations.
Weight off the shoulders.
Yeah.
Weight off the shoulders.
Want to share some wins that they had?
Finger crossed.
Yes. I've got some good news.
Okay.
That actually goes along with Miss Flora there. She introduced me to her pastor a few weeks back, and I was finally able to talk to him today. He called me back, and we've got an appointment set up on Friday of this week. I need to reach out to you after this to go over and look at a property as an off-market property. I met him. It was about charity work for the RIA. It had nothing to do with real estate, really. It was more about, you know, how to give back and stuff like that. It may end up turning into a real estate deal. So this group and the RIA, it brings opportunities from all different ways.
Awesome. In the chat, I think that's Ashley. I was able to put boots on the ground and pass out advertisements for her business. Also had a networking opportunity, was able to make new contacts. So congratulations to Ashley on that. I'll share my win with you guys. This just happened today. I'll share it. You guys know I do, you know, I got a bunch of doors and I do my property management in-house. And every property management company, they want 10%. And 10% of my property is a lot of money a month, all right? So I actually, it was pretty genius. I actually got a deal where I am buying a building that the property management company is in. And in exchange, they'll pay the rent, but they'll manage my property for me. So if you want to talk about freedom, I have nothing else on my plate once this goes through. So students, I am dedicated more and more to you guys if this goes through. I am totally free, and this was like a major move. And they're going to seller finance it. Even better. So I'm very happy to share that with you guys.
Awesome.
Anyone else, any smaller wins, big wins before we go on?
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean
Go
to
ahead,
step on
James.
your
Go ahead, James, and
Yeah,
then
go
we'll
ahead.
We just signed a contract on a new property in Weston. That's
Okay.
been a long time coming to get someone to just show up and sit down and sign and bring me their payoff letter. And hopefully close in a week and move in there next week and get it cleaned out and get the guys going. Mostly move-in ready, just a little bit of drywall repair, hopefully.
Congratulations. I'm excited to hear how it goes next week, too. We got to follow up on that one.
Awesome.
Andrew, you want the key in? I think you're still muted, Andrew. I don't know if he can.
Got her. Sorry, I'm down in the basement playing with the kids. But yeah, I had a few wins this week, mainly just connecting and networking with all other people that are in real estate, especially wholesalers as well as people in the sub-2 community. And I helped some students send out their first offer letters, just teaching them through. Got one contract signed this week and have a couple more in the pipeline. So it's all about working and just reaching out to people.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what the focus is here, guys. Networking. We're going to
Right.
learn and we're going to network. Awesome. Any other ones before we move forward?
Yeah, I'll tap in. What's up, you guys?
Eddie?
Just multiple deals coming my way. Actually found a couple sleeper deals in my neighborhood, which Ray mentioned is sometimes could be ridiculous. So found a distressed property, just how I like it, beat up, overgrown grass, got a car in the front yard. Also found a multifamily property in the neighborhood, which was excited to find out that the realtor who was showing the house is open to creative financing. I toured a manufactured home about a week and a half ago. They gave me a call back looking for an offer, which tells me they are pretty desperate, just how I like them. And just, getting boots on the ground, excited to be in this network, and honestly excited to be around like-minded people who motivate me. As I see you guys on Instagram, I got to get going. So thank you.
Let's go, Eddie. I love it. I love it. Eddie got me ready to spend 1.5 in Cali, man. Oh, man, I'm about to ship the money up. Anyone else before we wrap up, go on? It is great to hear so many wins this week. I'll be honest with you guys. This is amazing. Seth, let's move forward.
Awesome. Awesome.
So without further ado, Mr. Keelan George, I'll give you a brief introduction, Keelan, and then you can go on. And I actually met Keelan at what conference was it? I think it was at Thatcher's conference not too long ago.
Yeah.
And Keelan, I'll give you a testimonial and an introduction. Keelan, we talked about credit for a little bit, probably about an hour or two. And he gave me a tip. He don't know that he gave it to me. He was just talking to me. And he gave me this little tidbit about, getting my credit and requesting more. Well, Keelan, I'm here to tell you I did it. And
That's
they
good.
just gave me like a $14,000 raise on one of my credit lines of credit. I didn't have to
Excellent.
do anything. And then I think another line of credit, I got another bump up just by your advice. So I'm a walking testimonial of the value that he's bringing me, guys. So it's great to have him on. It is a pleasure. I know a lot of times we hear about people investing with, zero money down, and how do you leverage that? And Keelan might be able to help you and direct you guys to, credit hack someone. So without further ado, Keelan, if you want to share your screen stuff, if you want to stop your share, yep. And guys, if you have any questions for Keelan, if you could drop it in the chat as we go through this, just to keep things moving smoothly. Tim, Casey, good to see you guys on as well. Sorry I didn't get to say hi to y'all earlier, but good to see you guys on. Keelan, we can't hear you. Yep.
There we go. There, everybody
Yep.
seeing me good?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, we got you.
All right. All right, good. First, I want to say thank you, Ray. Thank you for having me in your amazing community. Thank you, Seth. You guys are definitely putting in some work. I love to see all the wins today. That was actually very inspirational for me as well. So I just want to say thank you for having me here. My name is Keelan George, and I'm what you can call a business credit expert, right? And I'll get a little bit into my story and how I got to where I am now. And if you guys have any questions, I mean, I could sit and talk about business credit all day, every day. If you have any questions, drop them into the chat, and I'll do my best after I finish going through this to get to as many questions as I can. All right, so let's jump straight into it, right? You need money to make money. Now, this is not always the case. I'm sure Ray teaches you a lot of different ways to be able to acquire properties and, seller financing and things like that. But the more capital you have access to you, the better, or the more opportunities you're able to take care of or take down in your marketplace, right? So I'm a firm believer that you need money to make money. But nobody said that it has to be your money, right? They conveniently forgot to mention that, and we're going to dig deeper into how to be able to unlock and access other people's money. All right. Now, when it boils down to it, it really boils down to the more money that you can borrow is actually the more money that you can make. And I put these two gentlemen here because they are my mentors. I will call them my mentors because I've read pretty much all of their books. And I don't know if you guys know how much debt these two gentlemen are in, but they're in quite an amazing amount of debt, right? And they openly express that, they're billions of dollars in debt. And it just goes to show that in order to get to the level that they are at, you have to use leverage and you have to understand how to unlock money from the banks. And I'm going to show you guys the beginning processes of this. All right. So what you really need to make money is you really need knowledge. The truth is there's an abundance of money out there that's just looking for people who are knowledgeable on how to receive it and how to grow it. And sadly, this is not stuff that they teach you in school. I don't know about you guys, but I went to college, I went to high school, and nowhere in college or high school anybody ever taught me anything worthwhile about credit, about business credit, nothing. Right. So this is not stuff that you're necessarily going to learn by, just going to school. So I got a question for everybody on this call, and I know everybody's going to be different, but how long will it take you to accumulate $60,000 after tax? Now, this is if you have a W-2 job, if you're already, an entrepreneur. I want you guys to just type in the chat how long you think it would take you to save up $60,000 cash money after tax. I'm going to pull up the chat here and see if I get some responses. Okay, I'm seeing 10 years. Okay.
10 years, a year at least.
At least a year, being realistic. Okay, good. All right. Thank you guys for being honest and realistic. I got 2 more coming in. W-2, 1 to 2 years. I got a 5 months, 2 years. Okay, so it varies, right? Now, the answer, and I'm not going stay on this page here. The answer is that you can actually get access to $60,000 or more in 0% interest business funding in the matter of days, sometimes weeks, just depending on where you currently are in your credit journey. And I'm going to dive deep into giving you a general understanding of how you can do this. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. All right. So the gentleman in this picture, his name is Roger Bannister. I don't know if you know Roger Bannister, but he was the first person to run a 4-minute mile. After he ran a 4-minute mile, countless people were just running 4-minute miles like it was the easiest thing to do. But he was the very first person. So I always tell my clients, just like there's an efficient way to run a mile so that you can get it to where you're running a 4-minute mile, there's an efficient way to get the banks to give you money, right? We just usually don't know what the banks are looking for. And I'm going to dive deep into helping you guys understand what the banks are actually looking for. So let me actually take this off. All right, let me put this in the corner here. All right. So once you know what the banks are looking for, you can position yourself to better receive. And it's really as simple as that. Understanding what the banks are looking for, positioning yourself in that way, and then being able to receive. And I just want to put this in here too, as a US citizen, like I actually spent some time living outside of the United States, and it's only when you live outside of the United States that you realize how robust of a banking system we have here and how much people are not actually taking advantage of it, mainly because they just don't know how to take advantage of it. So like I said, I'm going to jump into teaching you guys how to do that today. So banks are in the business of making money, right? I think a lot of people forget that banks are actual businesses and their business is making money. The banks must loan money to be able to make money. But the thing about banks is that they can't legally tell you exactly what it is that they're looking for to approve you for funds. Like they can't just, put out a bulletin and say, hey, this is what we're looking for. If you hit all these data points, we're going to be able to give you 100, 150,000, as much money as you want. I mean, I wish it was that easy, but unfortunately, that's not the world that we live in. And it's probably for good reason. But banks are not allowed legally to just tell the general public what it is that they're looking for. Now, I have, over the years of me doing this, I've accumulated a lot of knowledge from both mentors in my space and then also from bank underwriters that work at banks, and they've been able to tell me exactly what it is that they're looking for. So I use that information to guide my clients so that they can get the maximum funding when they start applying for these credit cards. Now, how do we get large amounts of 0% interest business credit? And that's what we focus on. We focus on 0% interest business credit, and I'll tell you why in a second. But 0% interest business credit, just to give you a brief synopsis, to me is the best form of borrowing, especially when you're starting off, because you have a runway of 12 to 18 months that you don't have to pay any interest on the money that you get. Right? So if you're flipping a property, if you're doing the burn method, that's enough time for you to use the money, get in and get out, and then not pay any interest on the money that you used. So I think it's the most beautiful, credit products that's on the market. So how do we learn to get large amounts of 0% interest business credit? We learn what the banks want and we simply give it to them. It's as simple as that. We learn what they're looking for, we position ourselves, and then we present ourselves to them and they give us the money. All right. So what are the banks actually looking for, right? This list right here, if you guys want to take a screenshot of this, feel free to. This list is what you call data points. The underwriters at the banks, and sometimes it's not even the underwriters, sometimes it's just a computer-to-computer process. The banks are looking at your credit score, yes, but they're also looking at the data points that come along with your credit profile. So I'm going to go through each of these data points so you kind of get a good understanding of what it is that they're looking for.
Hey, Keith, before you go, I just want you guys to know this is a major jewel too. This is huge. Like I didn't go to school or nobody taught me this stuff. I got denied my first few cards and didn't know why when I was younger. Like, why am I getting denied on these cards? I thought I had a good score, but these are like major points that you definitely want to, take into.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, I have a lot of clients who who get denied, or before they meet me, they go and they apply for cars and they get extremely low limits. And then afterwards, they understand how to position themselves better. And then they get large limits, 30, 40, $50,000 on 0% interest business credit cards. All right. So what do banks really want? The banks want data points. The banks are looking for a low amount of increase in the last 6 months, a low amount of increase in the last 12 months. Now, I want to stay here for a second. Inquiries are the easiest things to remove from your credit report. If you have a lot of inquiries, it's not the end of the world. We have processes with Experian where we can remove inquiries literally in 24 to 48 hours with just making a phone call. When it comes to Equifax and TransUnion, it takes a little bit more time, usually like about a week, but you can get inquiries removed on mortgages, on car loans. The only thing that we don't recommend removing inquiries on are open credit card accounts that you want to keep open. If you don't particularly like the card or don't care about the card, then I would remove those inquiries as well. But that's the only thing that we don't recommend that you remove. But everything else can be removed, and we teach all of our clients exactly how to do it for themselves.
And Keelan, you got some questions in the chat. I want to butt in just to make sure the students get heard too. Is this
sorry about
personal credit or is it strictly business?
Say that again?
Is it personal or strictly business? I think this applies to both, correct?
All right. So yeah, and I should have clarified this in the beginning. I'm sorry about that. So in the beginning, you're going to, I don't care what anybody says online, you're going to have to leverage your personal credit to get business credit, right? There are countless people online selling people dreams that you can just, get business credit and start, and then, you get hundreds of thousands of dollars in business credit. That's not how it works. You want to optimize your personal credit and use that to be able to get large amounts of business credit. So these data points that I'm pointing out right here are going to be, and let me just move this out of the way, are going to be what your personal credit should look like. These are the data points that they're looking at on your personal side. Now, when you go and get business credit, the business cards are not going to show on your personal, but you are going to use your personal to be able to get your foot in the door. Eventually down the line, as your business starts to age and as you start building relationships with banks, you will get to the point where you don't need to use your personal credit, but initially you do need to use your personal credit to get to where you're trying to get to.
Another question, with a small LLC, and we can just dive into the questions if you want, if you don't mind.
That's fine. That's fine.
Because I'm sure people have questions. With a small LLC, when does personal credit separate from business credit? So I think you kind of keyed into that too.
Yeah. It's really about the time. Like I said, you're going to start off. If you go to a bank and you have a small LLC, any bank is going to tell you, hey, what is your personal credit? They're going to use that to get you products. And then as you start to build out net 30s, you can build out credit cards, business credit cards. Then over time, you'll get to the point where you don't actually have to put your personal social security number on the applications because your entity is standing on its own. Now, to me, there's a positive and a negative to that. So it's not for everybody, but that's usually how it goes.
Okay. And then I'll let you go through this page, and then we'll ask some more questions after that. We got some decent ones coming in too. So
yeah, I see one here. Do you suggest paying for NAV? I do. Well, NAV just recently changed over, and I used to pay for it before. It really just depends if you want to have that trade line, because I believe they charge $49.99 and you get that trade line. It depends if you're really trying to build out a particular entity. I think
let's step back. What is NAV? What is NAV?
Okay, so yeah, that's a very good question. So NAV is the online place where you can find your Dun & Bradstreet number. Basically, it's like the NerdWallet for your business credit, right? So it'll show you your Paydex score, your Experian business score, and your Equifax business score. And it's free, but they do have other little services like paying for it where you can get a trade line. So that's essentially where you're going to go and look to see what your entity's business credit scores are.
Okay. You want to get into some more questions, or you want to keep going?
Let me go through this. I see one question. I'm just going to answer this really quick. Debit cards do not are not considered trade lines. And you really don't want to be using debit cards, because with debit cards, you're using your cash. You have no protection. You have, in case somebody, tries to scam you, whatever the case is, there's nothing the bank can do. So I always recommend to my clients, you always want to use your credit cards, because with credit cards, you have a host of other things that come along with the credit card, such as purchase protection, such as reward points. Those are things you don't get on your debit card. All right. So I'm going to just jump right back into the data points, if that's okay. But feel free, if you guys have any questions that pop into your head, just drop them into the chat and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Right. So low accounts in the last 6 months, low accounts in the last 12 months. They're going to be looking for primary accounts. You're going to want to have credit cards with limits of at least 5,000 to 10,000. The more you have, the better. They're also going to be looking for a certain amount of credit that you have available to you. So, somebody has a question?
No, you're good. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah, they're going to be looking for the amount of credit that you have available to you. So ideally, you want to have at least 5 credit cards open to you, just to show the bank that, hey, other people have trusted me with credit and I'm good. It just shows them that, you're part of the group. So you want to have a certain amount of credit. You don't want to have a thin credit profile. You want to have a certain amount of credit lines. Credit age is an important one too. There is a way to hack your credit age or to assist it a little bit, but when it comes down to it, the quicker you can start building credit, this is personal credit, the quicker you can start, the better. I always tell any of my clients that if you can start, the earlier you can start, the better, because there's only a certain amount of I would say finessing you can do to increase your credit age. But the banks are going to be looking for 4 years or more of credit age. Credit utilization, I think you guys may be familiar with that, which is just how much utilization you have on a particular card. So if you have a $10,000 card and you're using $5,000, that's a 50% utilization. The banks are going to want to see all of your credit accounts, ideally 30% and below, but even more ideal is 10% and below. So before my clients go to apply for cards, we get those cards down to 10%. So that way the banks know that you're not over leveraged. I already went over the total primary accounts, 5 or more. They're going to want to see no late payments in the last 2 years. If you have late payments outside of that 24-month window, that's fine. They don't weigh as much, but within the last 2 years, they're going to want to make sure that you don't have any late payments. If you have late payments, you can always dispute and try and get them removed. Usually, if you have like 1 late payment, you can call the bank and just tell them, hey, I was going through a rough period. And they would usually give you a one-time grace to remove a late payment. Sometimes you may have to ask multiple different reps. You may have to ask multiple times, but it's easy to get. If you have 1 late payment on it, it's easy to get that removed. They're going to want to see no derogatory marks, no collections, no charge-offs. I mean, ideally, you're going to have, a decent credit profile. And they're going to want to see a FICO score of 720 or above. If you are below 720, say you're like right there, maybe like at 680 or above, we can still work with you at that point. But to get the best results, you want to be at 720 or above. All right. And I dropped this one here at the bottom too, because when you are banking, and we're going to get into this on the next slide, when you're banking, when you're doing your business banking for your businesses, I know there's entrepreneurs in this group, you're going to want to set up your business bank account in a particular way. And I'll get a little bit more in detail on the next slide, but just keep that in mind for now. Just keep in mind that you're going to want to make sure that your business bank account has the right NAICS code. All right. And we'll get a little bit more into that right now. And I'm seeing a question here. So just to clarify, 5 accounts as in 5 open credit cards. That's correct. 5 open credit cards. All right. So what we do is we go for the low-hanging fruit when it comes to financing at the banks. And the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest credit to be able to acquire, is going to be revolving accounts, which is going to be credit cards. If you try and go and get a business line of credit, or if you try and go and get a line of credit, the bank is going to ask you for so much information because they have different processes associated with actual physical credit lines. But when it comes to revolving accounts like credit cards, they're a lot easier to be able to acquire than get into business lines of credit, especially if you're new to a particular bank, especially if you have, a not so great credit profile. You're going to want to go for what we call the low hanging fruit, which is going to be the 0% interest credit cards. Now, these credit cards are going to require no documentation, no income verification, and my favorite, stated income. Stated income means that what you put on the application, the bank is going to take that as truth, right? They're going to take that as face value. So if you put, my business this year is going to make 650,000, the bank is going to underwrite you based on that. They're not going to ask you for any documentation. They're not going to ask you for any proof unless you overextend way too high, something ridiculous like multiple millions. But generally, whatever you state on the application, the bank is going to use that to approve you for credit products, which I love, right? So going for the 0% interest business credit cards is like going for the low-hanging fruit. Now, how you apply for these credit cards are going to be important as well. If you apply online, let's say you just go to chase.com and you apply for a business credit card, you're applying from a computer to another computer. There's just algorithms that's going on. You have no real say in, we still get good results by doing that. But ideally, what you're going to want to do to get extremely high limits on cards is you're going to want to apply through what's called a business relationship manager. These are people at the banks who are building relationships with business owners like you and myself. And when you do this process, you get more of a hands-on approach as opposed to just two computers talking to each other. If you're applying online, you can accidentally put a space or forget to put a zero somewhere, and that messes up your entire application. But when you apply through business relationship managers, they're going to ask you questions about your business. We tell you exactly what to tell them, but they're going to still ask you questions about your business. They're going to send you a DocuSign. You're going to sign. And generally, you're going to get much higher limits when you apply through them than if you just apply online. All right. So that's another little nugget and a little tip I want to fill you guys in on. I'm seeing an NAICS code question in the chat. And let me answer that right now. The NAICS code is when you formed your LLC, right? No. So your NAICS code is actually initiated at the bank level. So when you go and you open up your business bank account for that LLC, a lot of people don't know this. Even if you go into banks, some of the people in the banks don't even know this. And they will just randomly just attach a code to you. But you want to tell them what code you want your business to be attached to. That's extremely important because, like I say in this slide, banks are going to be funding based on industry codes. So banks are in the business of reducing risk. If you're in a high risk industry, such as trucking, real estate, whatever the case is, the banks are not going to give you high limits. No matter what it is that I do to help my clients, if you don't have that foundation set correctly, you're going to get extremely low limits. But on the flip side, if you have some of the more easy to be fund industry codes associated with your bank account, then you're going to get much higher limits when you go and apply for cards. So that's extremely important to remember, right? So you're also going to want to stay away from any high risk words in the name of your company. Now, this is going to be XYZ Real Estate, ABC Trucking, right? There are words that banks or underwriters look for, and immediately when they see that, they put you into the bucket of being denied or possibly just getting extremely low limits. Real estate is another one. ABC Real Estate, ABC Wholesaling, ABC Residential. All of those are going to classify you in a particular way. You want to set yourself up in the best possible way to get the most amount of funding possible because you need funding to grow. So when you're setting up your business name, you're going to want to keep it as general as possible. So for instance, my name is Keelan Enterprises. That's very general. An underwriter can't look and know what it is that I do unless I tell them or unless they look at the NAICS code. And I would make sure that the right one is there.
I want to key in too, Key, because this is high level too, the stuff he's telling you guys. I was just at my bank probably yesterday. It was yesterday. And we're doing a build out on a different project, not real estate related. And we're going to use one of my businesses. And as we were going through it, the lady was like, hey, the manager, she was like, hey, you might not want to use, any of your bars or restaurants because those are more likely as like a high risk. Use one of your other businesses as lower risk, and they'll underwrite it totally separate. So this is definitely a true thing.
Correct. And I want to drop another jewel on top of that is everybody in here seems to be, everybody's into real estate. Now, there are wholesalers in here, there are people who are flipping properties, maybe. There might be people in property management, all different facets of real estate. The good thing about some NAICS codes is that they could be there's gray area to play with. So for instance, if you're a real estate wholesaler, you can be considered a real estate marketer. Your NAICS codes could be of a marketing entity, because that's what you do. If you're wholesaling, you're getting a property, you're marketing it, and then you're finding a buyer. So those are the different little tricks that you want to use where you're not technically lying or misleading, but you are, positioning yourself in a better way so that you can position yourself for funding. So, you might want to be a marketing company. You might want to be a consulting company, right? These are all industries that do multiple different things, and you can definitely fall in those NAICS codes. All right, so moving on here. And if I'm going too fast, or if you guys have any questions, feel free to, chime in and let me know. Like I said, I could talk about this for hours, and, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Hey, Key, we got a question in the chat from someone starting from scratch with terrible credit. What's your advice? Wait 2 years for perfect credit.
Yeah, so if you're starting from scratch with terrible credit, and I could speak directly to that because not too long ago I had terrible credit. I had a 450 credit score about 3 years ago, right? There's a couple of things that you can do. You're going to want to not apply for business credit until you get to a certain level, because it really wouldn't make any sense. You'll get low limits, you'll get denied, you'll rack up inquiries. It makes more sense to be patient, even though it's harder, but it definitely does make more sense. So what I would do is I would either wait until some of the negative items on your credit report can fall off. So statute of limitations is 7 years. So if you have a charge off and you're on year 6, don't touch it, leave it there. And if you could wait until that falls off, that's the cheapest and easiest thing to do. The next best thing you can do is get a good, reputable credit repair company. I could put you on to someone, well, not someone, but a company here in Florida that does all of our credit repair. And the good thing about them is they actually charge when they get things removed, not before. So you're going to want to try to at least dispute things off and play as much offense as you possibly can. But to answer your question, yeah, you're going to want to wait until you build up that credit score, because trust me, once you get to that point, it's definitely going to be worth it. All right. Let me see if I can get another question.
Get some more. What would be the best code for long-term rental properties?
Long-term rental properties, and I'll tell you this, I use consulting for a lot of my clients because consulting is very vague, right? If you have a consulting LLC and you do consulting in real estate, meaning you teach like what Ray's doing, Ray's, consulting with you guys here, but then you also have properties and you may hold those properties long term. That's beside the point. You're a consulting company based on what the bank is going to be looking for. So for long-term rental properties, I would always use a consulting company. NAICS code.
Good. Eddie wrote, Eddie agrees. Consulting, business administration, admin support is another workaround for real estate professionals.
Right. See? Yeah, like he said, consulting. We tend to only focus on like three. We focus on consulting, e-commerce, and marketing. Those are the ones that we've seen the highest limits be given for. So we focus on those three.
Major jewels, guys. And somebody wrote, would that be a tax write-off? I'm not sure what they're referring to.
Yeah, if they
and
could put that in there,
yeah,
I'll be
Brandon
glad
asked,
to
I know we hear a
answer.
lot of pros of business credit, but what are some don'ts with business credit? That's a good one, Brandon. Late payments, do they report back to your personal credit?
Right. So that's a very good question. So don'ts with personal and business credit is late payments. One late payment can drop your personal score like 80 points. And late payments are actually very easy to just bypass and never have. You just want to make sure that you have auto pay on all of your cards at the minimum amount. So if you do have a rough month where you can't make a large payment, whatever, at least you know if you pay $40 or whatever your balance is, you pay $50, you still didn't miss a payment, right? You might pay a little interest, but you want to make sure that you don't miss any payments. Another don't with business credit would be there's not really much don'ts with business credit. I mean, it's very similar to personal credit. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but anything you wouldn't want to do on your personal side, I would just recommend don't do it on the business side.
Let me ask, he asked, late payments, do they report back to your personal credit on the business side?
No, the late payments don't report on the personal side, depending on the card that you get. And there are some business credit cards that you just want to steer away from, such as the Capital One Spark card. TD Bank has a business card, and I believe Discover Card has a business card. All three of those business cards report to your personal, so that defeats the entire purpose in my book. We don't even apply for those at all. They make absolutely no sense. To answer your question, late payments will not show up on your personal credit, but if you become delinquent too many times and you're not paying off the business credit line, then they will take the account and put it on your personal credit.
Major key.
I haven't had anybody, get to that point because everybody just, pays their stuff on time, but that's what would happen.
Much value.
All right. So I love the questions. If you guys got more questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm going to keep moving forward and chugging forward here. All right. So I want everybody to know that all banks are not created equal. You may see people online who, talk about business credit and they may say Navy Federal or they'll throw out different banks. And me being in the industry, I know better than that because certain banks are not worth the relationship, or at least shouldn't be the priority. And some banks should be priority. So I recommend to everybody, even everybody on this call, if you don't have a relationship with Chase, either a business or a personal relationship, I would definitely recommend, especially now that you're an entrepreneur, you got LLCs, I would definitely recommend that you start building a relationship with Chase by doing your personal banking there. And if you can, do your business banking at Chase. The reason being is because as a business owner, you want to bank with banks that are going to give you back things in return, right? Banking, once you become a business owner, banking is not just about putting your money somewhere. It's now about, okay, what can the bank do for me? What can I get from the bank? So the good thing about Chase is that Chase has one of the most lucrative reward programs that can help you travel in luxury for free. And I'll talk a little bit about that on the next slide. Chase also, when you have a good relationship with them, will give you extremely large limits of 0% interest business credit cards, which is an asset for anybody who's trying to flip properties, who's looking to purchase, properties and do a BRRRR method. That's definitely an asset to get a $50,000, $60,000 0% card for 12 months. Chase also has some of the best customer service. They have their, concierge service for the top tier credit cards that they have. So you're getting a lot back for the relationship from Chase as compared to the regional banks or even the credit unions. Credit unions don't offer 0% credit cards. So to me, that just defeats the purpose. I like to get the 0% cards. So you want to,
well, you mentioned it. I want to show you guys something because I'm going to show y'all. This was one of the steps I took to get into real estate right here. This is off center. I kept this to the side. I forgot I had this. This is 0%, guys. 0% for 12 months. I pay no money on this. I could loan this out and get 5% on this, right?
Yep.
5% annually. I could loan this out. This is leverage right here. They send these checks to me every month. Ray, take some money. Ray, take some money, right? So when I actually got my first property, it was with one of these. I wrote a check with Discover Money. I think it was Discover or Chase. It might have been a Chase card.
Yeah, so you wanna build relationship with the banks that are going to do things for you, rather than spending your time with the banks that are not. Now you do still want to have relationships with the smaller banks, but you want to prioritize certain banks. These banks here on the list here are banks that are known to give extremely large limits. They are banks that have great reward programs, great customer service, great online portals. And they're not particularly in order, but you definitely want to be banking with one of these banks here. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So what are the uses for 0% business credit? Well, Ray just gave us a perfect example. He used 0% credit to buy one of his properties in the earlies. You could use 0% business funding for payroll, for purchasing of equipment, for purchasing of vehicles. I have clients who scaled their Turo fleets using 0% interest business credit. A good one, and I bold this one because investing in yourself, people don't realize, investing in yourself pays dividends. And sometimes it costs a lot of money to go to these meetups and to get these mentors. And this is a great way to do it. Buying a business is another good thing that you can do with 0% credit. I have a friend and a client, well, a partner here in Tampa. She buys laundromats. She usually takes $50,000 as a down payment, gets seller financing, works out, her deal. And the laundromat cash flows a lot more than sometimes real estate cash flows, right? So you have more flexibility with the more capital that you have available to you. So those are just some examples.
Yeah, let's get into some questions real quick. I don't want to miss anything. Give as much value as possible. What about online banks? Somebody asks, Fang asks, what about online banks?
All right, let me, should we start at that one, or I see some more?
There's one above. It's what about Huntington? We talking about banks. Member asks, what about Huntington?
Yeah, Huntington, they're not a part of anything that is I do. I actually don't know much about Huntington. But Huntington, I can't even say the word.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Huntington
is a regional bank, so it's not going to be anywhere close.
Huntington will not do. They don't do commercial real estate. They don't do investment real estate. They won't even loan on it. And I got a lot of money in Huntington, and they won't do anything for me. I can't even get them when I get to open a new account. They won't even give me checks. All right. Yeah. I'm ready to switch Huntington. I'll tell you guys right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Just banking efficiently. People don't realize how important it is to just bank efficiently. Where your money is and, the relationships that you have will put you in position to be able to capitalize on opportunities that present itself in the marketplace. All right. So let's see another one here. I have Chase personally for over 10 years. That is excellent. That is good. That's very good. Definitely keep that relationship good. What about online banks? So with online banks, I'm thinking that you're going to be talking about like maybe SoFi. Can't really think of any others off the top of my head. Online banks are good for personal loans because they tend to be able to give personal loans for not as much red tape as like brick and mortar banks. We use Lightstream is another one that is an online bank. So I would say that online banks are good for personal loan, but you still want to focus on the top tier banks, which was on the previous slide. What if you don't have money going through them as often? All right, that's a very good question. So Matthias asks, what if you don't have money going through the banks as often? Now, some banks are going to be more relationship based. They're going to want to see deposits and withdrawals. They might even want you to season some money in an account for anywhere from 30 to 90 days. But not all banks operate that way. So to answer that question, some banks that's going to be an asset to some banks. And then some banks are going to not even care if you have $1 in the account to be able to approve you for credit accounts.
I'll tell you guys too. I got Chase. I got thousands of dollars and Chase Credit, and I have no account at Chase.
Yep.
I got no bank account at Chase. So
Yeah, but you definitely want to
I
have a
need
bank.
to. Maybe I should. Maybe this conversation's high level. Maybe I should switch.
Yeah, you definitely do.
So we need to get wrapped up. I know you guys have a lot of questions. Keelan, we're starting our Wednesday course. Keelan, would you be willing to come back for the students on a Wednesday? Can I get you to come back one Wednesday? We can schedule it out, and that way they can ask you some questions, some one-on-one questions too.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
That. Yeah, because this
Let
is
me know.
level. We'll let you wrap up here, Key. You can go ahead and finish going through your slides. I value your time. So,
all right. So I'm just gonna kind of speed through things here. I know my time is getting there. All right. So this right here shows, and I want to make sure that you guys can see this. This shows the process of using or stacking 0% interest business credit, using it for assets, like I said before, real estate, cars, whatever, into your business, whatever. Using the cash flow that those assets make, pay back off the 0% cards. You build the relationship with the bank, and then you can always do it again. Not with the same 0% cards because they'll usually run out of the APR period, but you can always go back to the bank and then repeat the process. So with this, you're able to do more real estate deals. You're able to keep your money for what's important, like paying your bills, making sure your car note's paid, kids going to school. You don't have to use your money. You can use the cards to do all these different things. All right. Inside of our program too, we also have a business funding locator. This is for all the 0% interest business cards in America per state. So we have a collection of exactly, where to send people. And we also have notes based on other people in our community that have been approved. We put notes in there as to, what to put on the application, what limits to look for, things like that. Now, the benefits of business credit is, and I'm going to go through this list. Number one, and this is the one that is probably most important, is that it does not report to your personal. The good thing about that is if you have, let's say you got a $50,000 Chase Ink Unlimited card, you can use all $50,000 of that $50,000 and it not screw up your utilization on your personal. So I always tell my clients, the reason that you want to have good personal credit is really just to be able to leverage it for business credit. Keep your personal credit nice and pristine, always looking good. And then when you want to go and, use money for something, you go over to the business side, get a business credit card, and you use that for whatever it is that you want to do. Utilization also doesn't matter as much on business credit. As on your personal side, utilization is going to make up a very large chunk of your overall score, but on your business side, it's not going to affect your credit score at all. Access to larger limits. You get much higher limits on the business side than you do on the personal side. You get to build relationships with the banks, which is very important. We already went through that. You get the flexibility of employee cards. So if you have people that you want to send to go purchase things, you still get the reward points. They're doing the purchasing, and then you can put different restrictions on the cards so that, they don't purchase more than they're supposed to be purchasing. Purchase protections. We talked about this briefly with the question about the debit cards. I always use credit cards. I never use debit cards. I don't even know what my debit cards is, primarily for the reasons of if there's anything wrong with anything that I purchased, I am protected. I can call the company and say, hey, this person did not deliver what they said they were going to deliver. And because credit card companies are on the side of the consumer, because the consumers, how they make a lot of their money, they're going to do the most that they can possibly do to reverse that transaction, right? You don't get that with a debit card. You don't get that, obviously, with cash. And my favorite is going to be rewards for traveling in luxury for free. That is something that has definitely changed my life. I know everybody in here travels, and many people maybe wonder how to travel in business class or first class. Whenever I travel overseas, it's usually going to be business class and first class, and I'm going to be paying less than somebody is probably paying for coach, or definitely less than somebody's paying cash for that first class seat. So if you have business credit, you're going to be spending the money anyways. You might as well get the reward points so that you can use that to travel in luxury for free and increase your travel increase your travel experience. So these are just some pictures that I found here of me traveling, in first class, business class. I rarely travel coach or standard now, only if I'm like bouncing around in the US. But definitely when I'm going across seas, I always travel first class. And typically I don't pay for any plane tickets. I can't remember the last time I paid for a first class ticket overseas. If you're doing business, and I know everybody in here is, you really have the ability to travel in this way whenever you're traveling. And it's a really nice experience. Not to mention lounge access, TSA pre-check, global entry. These are all things that just make your travel experience so much easier. And these are things that you get anyways by spending on the business cards that you're going to be spending on for your business anyways. All
I
right.
think everybody here, that American Centurion card, if you know, you know. Oh my God.
I love the Centurion lounges.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, what it is that we do to help our clients is we help you walk through all of these things. You tell us what it is that you're looking for, how much capital you're looking for, and we give you a strategic plan. We also teach you about personal credit and business credit so that you can understand how to do it, so that you can teach others or teach your family. And we help you not make the mistakes, because there are a lot of mistakes that you can make along the way just by not knowing. And we help you bypass those mistakes. We have a dashboard that you come into. It tells us where your data points are. And once you're lined up in that prime position and looking good and shining, then we hand you over to our relationship managers at the top tier banks. And then they approve you for large limits of 0% interest business credit. And you can also liquidate those business credit cards into cash, physical cash, and you can use that for any of your projects, and then you can just repeat the process from there. All right, I just got one more slide here. Let's definitely connect. I like to be around like-minded individuals. This is my Instagram here. If you guys are on Instagram, definitely shoot me a follow. I'm going to be putting out more information about business credit in the future here. And if you want to book a call and, talk about where you are, just go to maxcredit.io. You'll see a big blue button on there that says schedule a call. Click that button, schedule a time. We'll sit down, we'll talk, we'll see where you are. If I can't help you, I'll let you know, what that entails of. If you're not quite there, I'll definitely give you some free help to try and point you in the right direction, because I know how hard it could be sometimes when you just don't know about credit. So that's my presentation for today. I hope everybody got some good information from that, and definitely reach out to me and let me know if you guys have any questions. Sorry if I took up too much time, Ray.
Keelan, I think you brought so much value. I don't think anybody care about the time as much, man. I gotta put you on the spot though. I need two things from you, Keelan.
Yeah.
Right. I need a Wednesday call for my students, right?
Uh-huh.
You guys are welcome too. And we gotta do something for my students too. Maybe we could do something. We'll get some type of program maybe we can do for the students. Maybe we can figure something out, maybe help them out in some type of way. Or maybe look at their credit or something. Figure out what they do and how they can be utilizing it better. Do maybe a consultation if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's no problem at all.
Dope. Hey guys, make sure you follow Keelan. Keelan, thank you so much. Major value.
Thank you guys.
We running out of time. Guys, you guys want 5 more minutes? Maybe we can ask a couple more questions. You guys care? Keelan, you care? I value your time. So
no, man, I don't care, man. I'm here for you, Ray. Anything
I
I'm actually
appreciate
scrolling
you.
through now.
Let's
yeah, I can share. Somebody said reach out to me. I'm gonna drop my number in the chat. Yeah,
guys, DM him. You guys can reach out to him on Instagram or DM him. I tagged him in my last post, so if you follow me, you should be able to follow him. And he dropped, man, that was Con. He dropped his text number in there, guys. So feel free to text him.
Yeah,
This is like when we talk about real estate, this is one of the fundamentals, is having decent credit, right? Eventually, you're gonna need credit to refinance a property. Even if you do and sell a finance, you're gonna need some type of credit, right? So just remember that when you go to refinance a property, you got to have your credit right. Good credit to go very, very far. So don't mess your credit up. I know some of you might have messed it up when you were younger, but now is the day to get it right.
Absolutely. And one
Go
thing I
ahead.
will add too, Ray, is that once you get to a certain level, as business owners, I don't really think it makes sense to have your cars in your personal credit. It just eats up your DTI. So you can always have your car on your business, name, which gives you the flexibility of not having, that DTI used up on your personal side. So those are all things that are just good to have by having good credit and then understanding how to use business credit and how to build those relationships with banks.
That's a major key. When they tell you wealthy don't own anything, I don't have anything in my name. I own nothing.
For sure.
I own nothing.
It's funny in the very beginning, Keelan, you mentioned, you said learn what they want and then show them that, right? And that's something that in real estate too, when we talk about OPM, we talk about hard money lenders, private money lenders, and going and funding our deals and stuff like that. It's the exact same thing that a real estate person's going to do on their deals too, right? Like we're going to show you the merit of your deals. We're going to show you how we're going to be able to, make a profit. And if you don't have a good slide for, presenting your deal, you're not going to get approved for that deal, right? If you look like you don't know what you're doing, you look like you don't know what you're talking about, you're not going to get approved from a hard money guy or a private money guy or any of that, right? Same thing with these banks, right? What are they looking for? If you check the box, they're going to give you the money.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Keelan, I appreciate it again. Thank you so much. I think everybody here appreciate it. Guys, reach out to him if you need anything. He's more than happy to help students. We'll be doing a Wednesday call with him. We'll get him scheduled on maybe one of our first Wednesday calls, Seth.
Yep, we can absolutely.
And I'll text you, Keelan. All right.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you guys for the time, and I wish everybody in this group much, much more success.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Next Tuesday, our guy, very own Seth Timmerman, will be in the building. Seth, you got a special guest too, right?
We do, absolutely. We got a lady, her name is Jennifer Stewart, and she is an absolute monster on the phone. She has trained some of the people in my business. I have picked up stuff from her as well. When she started cutting her teeth doing cold calling, she started Monday morning at 9 a.m. on the East Coast and ended at Saturday night, 8:00 p.m. on the Hawaii time, right? Like she was animal. And the way that she talks about stuff about building relationships and building rapport is awesome. Her tonality that she uses and talks about the psychology of the cold call. It can be used in business in almost any interaction. So definitely a lot of value that's coming up. I highly recommend.
And then to the students, some of you guys, I know you guys have been asking about wholesaling. This is something that you definitely want to be there for. Me and Seth are going to work on some deeper dive wholesaling coursework. I think we'll probably spend a couple of hours on this coursework, Seth. We'll be digging into it, and you guys will have that. All the students, you guys will get access to that as well. So you'll find it. And then for the students, we dropped a bunch of other material. You should have it in the coursework as well. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Is there a way to save and rewatch? Yes, you can find us on YouTube. You can follow the Zoom calls on YouTube. Students, you guys have access to them. There should be a drop-down module with just the calls. And then if you're not a student, you can watch them on YouTube. And we have access to them too. So just DM us. We can get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keelan dropped his website in the bottom of the chat. So guys, make sure to check it out. And I can't wait to see you guys next Tuesday.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for your time, Keelan. We appreciate it. You
Thank
dropped
you,
a lot of knowledge.
For sure. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me.
Awesome. You guys have a good day.
All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Let's save the chat before you close out.
Hey, Eddie, you there? Eddie, you still there?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Oh, you got a second?
I do have a second.
You want to go over that deal? Let's talk about it. If you got a second, I missed earlier. I want to catch you now, Walla.
Let's see.
You got deals?
Eddie got me about to spend 1.5 out there, man.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I just talked to a guy today. He's in San Diego and he invests almost exclusively in West Virginia. He flies out here like 3 or 4 times and looks at like 40 or 50 properties when he comes. He's got 100 doors in Clarksburg.
Mm.
And you know what I was thinking came to me when I was at the gym, Ray, is we could even do the VA loan play. That could be something to leverage for this property because I
But the
freed up
VA
my
loan, you got to house hack that though.
We can house hack it.
Okay.
I mean, the options are the number's got a number, as you know.
Yeah.
So this one has 3 units on one lot, which is pretty unique for this area. This is the area I live in. Most of the lots are less than 6,000 square feet. So how they squeezed this in there was very interesting.
Mm.
They're looking for 1.5.
Yeah.
Front unit is a 2.2. The middle unit is a 2.1, and then the back unit is a studio.
Okay. What would you need to live in?
You said what would what?
Are you house hack? How are you are we gonna house hack this, or are we gonna?
I wanted to talk to you about it. Because I have so many renters lined up for my house, the house that I'm currently in. So it just it's not going to really change any dynamic with my family, except that we live a couple blocks over.
Okay, that's good. Still in the same school zone?
Yeah, same everything, same commute to church, same everything, exactly.
Good. So you can rent your house now and make a couple dollars. We talked about that on our first call.
Right. And that's actually what I'm preparing for, is to rent this house out. I just got the back bathroom finished. Did the kitchen last year. So everything is pretty spanking new.
I like that door.
Yeah, it's nice, man. It's a lot of these houses in the area built in the 50s, they kind of still have that old town, my neighbors are 60.
Yeah.
So it's your grandparents owning the houses in this neighborhood.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, me too, because they pay and they keep it clean, and it ain't a funny business.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, yeah, let's go through the pictures. Let me see. So you got 3 units. What are you living now? You got a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom where you're at now?
I'm in a 4, 2.5.
Can y'all size down that low?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This house, when I bought this house was a foreclosure. So when I bought it, they did an addition, and added an additional like 800 square feet, and then somehow lost it. But the houses in this neighborhood are originally 2.1s with a single car garage. So most of these houses have a single car garage, even my home. And you'll find very few 2-story homes.
Okay. Yeah, look clean.
Yeah.
Here's what I need I need to know what you need from me.
Yep.
What's your play on this? How you plan to take this down, and then what's going to be the strategy? You're going to use VA loan, do you need private money, whatever we need to do. I think we talked about the rents a little bit.
Yeah, we did talk about rents.
Let's factor that in and then see what you have. I might be willing to go in on something. I want to get into that to those bigger markets. I mean, we're investing in Pittsburgh. We're looking at stuff in New York. I've looked at stuff with Keylon. I actually looked at a duplex or a quadplex with Keylon not too long ago in the Florida market.
And what I realized, so in this area, city's called Lakewood, 90% residential. You're going to find very little commercial buildings to rent or to lease. But you will find very, very few vacant homes.
Really?
So people getting these homes, they it's a family neighborhood. They pay their rents. It's clean. Like my son said, Dad, we live in a boring neighborhood. And I said, boring pays good because, I mean, equity is shooting up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, pictures look clean. Send me, this is what I need from you. Send me what you need from me. And just what you envision the deal looking like. And let's go from there. I got an interest. I got an interest.
And then I found another one, a distressed property.
What's the rent? Seth said, what's the rent? I think if you took it down clear and free, you at what, 10 G's a month?
Yeah, like 10-4, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me run out my mortgage calculator real quick. But you couldn't take it. I mean, I guess you could take it down clean as just a rental. 10-4. Ugh. Depends on the taxes and insurance.
Yeah, that's gonna be a major play on that.
What's the taxes and insurance? Do you know?
I don't know that yet.
I need you to get that. I need you to give me
Yep.
the taxes and insurance. I can get a lower rate than an 8% probably. If you, depending on what your play is, if you house hack it, and if you did live in one unit, we can get like a 6.5, maybe even a 7, which is a
Yeah.
1.4. That's a lot of money. That's from 8,000 to 9. It'd be tough to make it work though, just depending on the taxes, I guess. I need that information for sure.
Yeah, I get
You
you
got
that.
like 5,000 to 10,000 in taxes. Let me see, 4,000. Yeah.
Yeah, I got my tax bill here. So my annual taxes are 5246.
Okay, that's what I have it at. I got 5,600, and then I got
Yeah.
insurance at about 2,400 a year, which is about 200 a month. That might be really low for me, for your area, for that build a house. So we're looking at 20% down. Let's just say we put 20% down. This won't cash flow, unfortunately.
Yeah, you got to be at 15K a month for the
Yeah.
1% rule.
Yeah, it won't cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
So it will work for a primary, maybe for you.
Yeah.
And then you could, for you, I mean, I don't need no skin in the game, but just to help you, it will work as a primary for you. And then you got
The
money coming from your
the
other
other-
house.
Yeah,
Huh?
the other two units are going to offset most of his mortgage, right? So
Yeah,
I mean,
half of
it
it
would be
probably.
like, yeah.
And if you
It'd be-
got
it'd be
money
hard
coming in
to-
from your original one, then it would set you at, living for almost free.
Yeah.
And then just use your VA loan again if you can. And next time you could use it. I mean, yeah, I would take this down. If I were you, I would take it down.
Nice.
The only thing is the lifestyle change. Actually, you
know,
might.
This is when you need a 50-year mortgage, 50-year
Yeah.
amortization.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Actually, here's the thing. I analyzed that for 20% down. So depending on what you're looking like, and if you're going with an 8%, let's just say 7.5 because it's residential, you're looking at 10,455 as your payment with 0% down. So you got to run your numbers, know what you can afford. You'll have a little bit of extra money from your place because you're renting it, and then whatever the tenants are paying. Then you just have to rely on appreciation and the market continue to grow, which California is still in demand. It's still a demanding market. I don't know though. It's kind of one of those markets people are moving out of too.
Right.
Investors are moving there, but with you being there, this might work for you and your personal home and help.
Everybody's always going to want the California and the Florida lifestyle.
Yeah, I hate to say it. Yeah. So I mean, this might work for you. This is not an investor. For me, it's not enough skin in it.
Mm-hmm.
At 145, it's not enough skin. Yeah.
How long has it been on the market?
Today, the third day.
Oh yeah, it's too fresh.
Yeah.
Somebody will bite this though. I think somebody will. It's a nice house. If I was in that area, it'd be my primary. Plus the opportunity to like house hack, get into real estate, and then somebody's probably renting. I mean, the rents out there, what, $4,000 in certain areas?
Yeah. In this area, it's about 30, 36.
Yeah, so somebody's probably paying 4 G's for, you might as well, okay, let me just house hack this one, get into this and get me started. This is a great like starting place. So
yes, sir. All right.
If you find something that works, you let me know. I want to get in your market. So
that California love.
I got California dream. I only been to Cali one time, bro. I need to get back out there. So
yeah, let's do it.
Keep me posted, guys. I gotta go. I got family time. I'm running late.
Yes,
already.
of course, of course. All right, thanks, gentlemen.